Hey,
What's up, Corey?
what's up, Kuhlman?
This is
Episode 8
episode 8 about episode 9.
about episode 9.
Star Wars. Spoilers throughout.
Do you know the title?
Rise of Skywalker.
Rise of Skywalker.
It was an interesting that they chose that because I thought they were implying that Rey we were going to find out she was a Skywalker. And
Spoilers.
spoiler, I said it. If you
Okay.
clicked on this video, you're getting I mean,
Okay, is that just in the title?
yeah, this is for, as always, when we talk about movies, like, you either don't care about spoilers or you've already seen the movie. Is kind of our
Yep.
general.
Right. That's the approach you should take in continue to watch us. Yeah.
I think consumers on the internet know if they're clicking on something that
Yeah, like us, where before we saw the movie,
Avoid everything.
Don't touch anything that says Star Wars. Avoid it. Plug your ears when anyone's talking about it. Thanks. Christmas dinner, we're like, oh no, don't talk about it. The family, no,
Yeah.
you guys have seen it. Shut up.
exactly.
Or me at work, like, oh god, I just gotta put both headphones in so I don't hear anything about it. But sometimes you just can't avoid it. You gotta, for something this big, it's kind of like Endgame.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just equate everything to this
Yeah.
massive release of one of the most popular movies ever. You gotta dodge
You gotta
and
dodge those spoilers.
or you gotta get there quick and be one of the people who knows, and then respect everyone else's wishes to not
Yeah.
hear about it too. So
It's I find that I can navigate with how much information that we are able to consume. I'm pretty easily able to avoid spoilers on most things.
sure. Well, that's in like your own personal browsing, but
Yeah.
I'm sure you're not also in a circle where everyone's talking about it constantly all day long type of stuff. Like,
No
Dodging.
one's talking about Star Wars where I work,
Yeah.
and everyone's talking about Star
right.
Wars.
And I
where
hadn't
you
seen
work.
it, so I wasn't like trying not to spoil with you or give you little hints here and there. What was the other movie that I saw last time? A couple weeks ago, and I was like, oh, when I saw the Joker, and we were talking on a podcast, and we were having conversation, I was like, oh, and I would stop myself. All right, he hasn't fucking seen the movie. I won't bring it up.
Yep.
Let me not, type of thing. So
Uh,
anyway, let's start off with a rating.
yeah, 2 out of 5 for me.
So harsh.
Yeah,
J.J. Abrams would be mad disappointed.
yeah. I didn't think it was a bad movie. 2 might give the
Equate
impression
something that's a
that
bad
it
movie.
was like bad or something.
Yeah,
I
3
think
would be average, right?
it's-
So it's below average. So
it's below average. It wasn't. I didn't think it was a great movie. I thought it was okay. I thought it was the most okay movie ever.
When you were getting grades growing up and you got a below average, C is average, and you got a D, that's a bad grade. So
Yeah.
you're giving it a bad rating.
Yes.
Okay.
I would recommend the movie. If you like Star Wars and you're interested, I would say, yeah, go watch it. But I don't need to tell anyone that.
If you were a Star Wars fanboy, what would you give it?
I used to be a Star Wars fanboy, and I've lost faith in the series since Disney's gotten it because I just am not that interested in Star Wars movies anymore.
I gotcha.
But I want to be.
Do you have a rating for all Star Wars movies? Some of your
Yeah.
favorites?
Yeah.
Top 3?
Could we go over what you rated this movie?
Oh, sorry, yeah.
First?
I would rate a 6.5 out of 10.
Nice.
Yeah.
And what would you give? Let's continue on that path. Each Star Wars movie. You want to go through and give our overview of what we rate it? And
There's too many.
too many?
Nine.
Well, let's just go with the base series. This is the
12
ninth.
movies.
This is the ninth
11 movies.
of the core canon.
Right.
So, very first movie that ever came out, Episode 4, A New Hope. Did you like that movie?
I did.
Yeah, the movie was awesome.
It's very dated. Saw it when I was way older. Didn't grow up on it. My parents were not Star Wars fans, so I didn't have like an exposure to it. I think my first memory of seeing Star Wars movies is the complete set of the 4, 5, and 6 on VHS, or maybe it was DVD very early on in that point, in someone else's living room, and being like, "What the hell is this? Star Wars? Look at this! They have lightsabers!" And then we turned it on for 10 minutes, and we had to go. And I just held on to that.
Were you interested? Were you drawn
Oh
in?
yeah.
Yeah, I was too.
You know,
Yeah.
Like a lightsaber is one of my biggest. If I could wish for anything, it'd probably be wishing for a real lightsaber. Besides, like
At the
water for
prequels?
humanity and everyone hunger and end world hunger.
At
type
that
of
time,
stuff.
had the prequels come out?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
This was before the episode 1, 2, and 3.
Correct.
You had seen episode 4 and 5 and 6, or
I-
at least 10 minutes of it.
So I think I'd seen like 10 minutes of episode 4, and then maybe before I was 12 or 13, I saw all of them, and it wasn't like a huge impact, but you know, I saw the movies, so I appreciated them just because of the world that they lived in. But episode 1, 2, and 3 kind of brought technology and that history I had a little bit with it to be like, oh, these movies are pretty awesome. And I still 3 is still one of my probably my favorite or second favorite of all the Star Wars.
To give you some context, I don't remember a time when I hadn't seen Star Wars.
Okay.
I saw episode 4, 5, and 6 before 6 years old, and before I can remember.
Gotcha.
Like, I don't remember the first time I watched it.
Right.
It's been a part of my like way of being and thinking about the world, is that all this shit just kind of was there
from Star Wars. Yeah.
Yeah. And I played with Star Wars Legos, and then episode 1, The Phantom Menace, came out when I was 10 years old, and I was so hyped for it.
Yeah.
I loved it.
So I didn't see that movie in theaters. I don't think I saw Attack of the Clones in theaters. I was just not on that kind of level yet of going to movies. I wasn't really concerned at that age about going to movies. Like, I didn't have the appreciation for them yet. I still enjoyed them watching them, and every time they would come on TV, I'd be like, oh, cool, Clone Wars, and, you know, all that kind of stuff. But the 3rd episode came out, and I saw that one, and I was like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
So that's one of my favorite movies.
So 4, 5, and 6, we can kind of clump together for you.
Yeah.
And for me, I would separate them only insofar that episode 4 was awesome, but Empire Strikes Back is the best Star Wars film ever made. I still think that. It was just a good movie. I've seen it multiple times with, like, my girlfriend had never seen Star Wars, and so I got her into all that.
Right.
And rewatching it, I was like, oh, this is the best. Return of the Jedi was good, but, you know. And in episode 1, people shit on a lot for The Phantom Menace.
Yeah.
But I still like it.
Episode 1 is probably
I didn't think it was as bad as everyone says.
Yeah, I think episode 2 was a little bit worse than episode 1, but
episode 2 sucked. Hated it.
I liked the development of, like, how the clones came into being, and sure, there was, like, some leaps and bounds that the story kind of took, but again, you're taking a book and you're trying to adapt it to a movie, and what parts do you keep and what parts do you not keep? And, you know, Ewan McGregor did well. I think Brandon Christensen.
Who?
Anakin.
I don't know the
You don't know the
actor's name for Anakin from episode
1 to 3.
1, 2, 3.
Or
Oh,
2
oh,
and 3.
you know what? I do. Hayden Christensen.
Yeah, I knew it was Christensen, so Hayden Christensen.
I thought you were talking about the kid actor from episode 1.
No. No one knows who he is.
No one, yeah.
Actually, I wonder what he's doing now.
Wonder what he's doing. We probably tweeted him.
Living off the money.
Hopefully. It's hard being a child actor, dude.
Yeah, it is.
It's real hard to turn out normal.
Especially with all these House of Cards guys walking around.
Yeah, at least Kevin Spacey's trying to rape you, dude. You gotta protect yourself.
I love that guy. I'm sorry.
Kevin Spacey did nothing wrong. I don't know anything about it. Do you know anything
And
about...
we just lost all our viewers. All right, see you guys.
We're getting canceled. For sure. I just know that it sucks that Kevin Spacey is not doing stuff anymore. I don't know any details. And I guess I heard that in 1980, he was drunk and he tried to hold a 16-year-old boy who was at a house party at his house down, and I'm not sure that anything more happened, but then there's allegations, and so he's gotten canceled.
Yeah. He was too big to fail.
He was big, yeah. He was arguably at the height of his career.
Yeah.
With The Show,
Yeah.
House of Cards, and a couple movies that were coming out, and rest in peace.
He's dead.
He's dead.
He's dead.
It sucks, dude. That's what I don't like about our culture. But, I don't like bad people either. So if he's a bad person...
Exactly. It's just hard to tell what is real and what's not.
Yeah.
You like to believe people are honest, but sometimes they're not. Like, I don't think you're honest with your rating, but that's okay. That's
honest with my rating? Which rating?
a rating of this last movie.
Oh, you thought I enjoyed it more than a 2 out of 5?
Yeah, I think the fact that we waited a week. So I was telling Zeke about this when I got back from last night from the movie, and he's like, "What did you think about it?" And I was like, "I said don't go to theaters." He's like,
Yeah.
"Wow, really?" I was like, "Yeah, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I wouldn't pay to probably watch that again, but that's because I felt like myself, you, Jolie was definitely not interested because she doesn't have any affinity or even inkling of liking Star Wars at all. And the audience kind of went in, so the two of us and the audience kind of went into this movie a week after it had already been, 10 days after it had already been out. And we had kind of heard the rumors around with friends and blah, blah, blah. Like, it wasn't like an end game hype of like, I saw the movie, I can't tell you anything, I can't wait to talk to you about this movie after it's over. This one was kind of like, almost the opposite, like, it was kind of average, or I didn't enjoy this as much as the other movies, and I was a little bit brokenhearted of like, oh man, that kind of breaks the hype for me, is that's what I've heard. In even, like I said, trying to avoid spoilers and not seeing anything, that's still like the whispers that I heard amongst people is like, it's not as good. And I felt like everyone in the theater, including the two of us, kind of went into the movie like, oh, this isn't going to be as good.
Yeah.
And so it kind of like, it shaped the atmosphere of the theater, which kind of lowered the experience even further than the movie. But
I agree with everything you just said.
Visually, I think the movie is awesome. Story-wise, there was a little bit too much of a mansplaining in the movie, which is like a modern problem these days, is like, let the movie do the storytelling instead of I gotta have everything explained to me. But I also keep into perspective that this movie is not based for a 30-year-old movie critic. Like, this is for
fuck that,
the growing generation.
No, I hear you, but fuck what they did in terms of trying to really simplify it and tell you everything, because they had lost the appeal and the allure and the mystery of episode 4, 5, and 6, the originals, the ones that built all of the Star Wars universe. Is that it's a space opera, so it's about a man and his father and maybe master and Padawan and the family fighting and his sister Leia and the love story between Leia and Han Solo and the friendship between Chewbacca, and all that stuff wasn't explicitly stated and explained, and it wasn't on the nose, whereas this movie everything was just given at to you on
a silver platter. There was no room for you to be like, to try and infer what was happening, or the reasons or the rationalities, or maybe bring some replayability quote to like go back and watch the movie so you could kind of like fill in, they said this but I don't remember exactly what they were talking about, and then you watch it the second time and like, oh, that's what they were talking about in the scene that's coming up.
I saw a great movie last night called Shimmer Lake on Netflix. I want you to watch it, because that is a movie that...
It's like an hour and a half, and it's about a murder in a town. It's
told backwards.
Yeah.
And they just they don't tell you anything.
Right.
They have actors doing stuff, and
right.
You got to figure it out.
Yeah.
And it was... I was drawing, I was doing some other stuff, kind of watching it as a background, and I was trying to pay attention. I was like, wait, what's happening? And I was drawn in, and I paused what I was doing. I put away my art that I was like sketching, and I just sat there and was locked in. I just watched the movie, and it caught my attention.
Right.
Star Wars had none of that.
Yeah.
And this is a huge budget final in the series of this epic. I mean, I don't remember a time in my life before Star Wars, and now this is the culmination, the end.
Is it the end?
Well, it's supposed to be the episode 9. It's the end of the trilogy. It's the end of the Force Awakens, Last Jedi, Rise of Skywalker.
Why does it have to be a trilogy?
Because the episode 4, 5, and 6 were a trilogy in Star Wars, and then episode 1, 2, and 3 ended that trilogy, and then this is the newest version of doing a trilogy. Episode 7, 8, 9 is supposed to be
10, 11, 12 will be another trilogy, so it's not the end. Okay, end of trilogy. Okay, all right.
It's supposed to be the biggest thing that's ever happened in Star Wars, and it just fell flat overall, and that's disappointing, and you get a 2 out of 5.
Yeah, it's like the biggest gymnastic star in the world, and she like takes a step on her final like thing and messes up her 10 out of 10 type
and
thing.
I don't even think it's super hard to make a good movie in the start. They could have made this so good almost if you take a hands-off approach. Just let one... I made this comment. If you take a group of 5 25-year-olds that have written scripts before and maybe do a contest or something and throw them in the room and say, you guys are writing the last bit of Star Wars, like the last... for the newest generation... Just listen to what those 5 people say and put your $100 million that you spent on this around the vision of a good storyteller that is familiar with Star Wars. You'd have a better movie than this schlock of putting in every, like, having a final scene, bringing back Emperor Palpatine. Like, it felt like a Marvel movie, and they Disney-fied it. And this was sort of my fear years ago when I learned that Disney had bought out Star Wars from George Lucas. And it's exactly what's happening, and they've lost... You're riding off this brand that is almost unperishable. It's like, or impenetrable. It's like, you can't fuck this up. And you didn't super fuck it up, but you just made it bland, and you took all the flavor out of it, and I don't care about the next Star Wars Rogue 2 or whatever the fuck comes out next. Like,
could have had better fight choreography.
Oh, yeah.
Could have had less mansplaining.
It's hilarious that you called it mansplaining.
Oh, man, it was just like...
Hey, what'd you think about Force Awakens and The Last Jedi?
Not the best.
You watched Force
cool.
Awakens recently.
I watched Force Awakens recently. I did not watch the... What's the 8 called? I don't even know.
The Last Jedi?
The Last Jedi? Yeah. The Force Awakens was a little bit better than The Last Jedi.
I liked Force Awakens.
Yeah, I would rate it 7, 8, 9 as far as this trilogy.
I'd probably give it a 4.
Maybe 7, 9, 8. In 7 being the best, 9, and then 8 being the worst of this trilogy. My second favorite movie is actually Rogue One.
You liked Rogue One.
I did.
I liked... The last half hour was awesome. Was amazing. Okay. It was a 5 out of 5 movie.
Okay.
Everything up until that was probably like a very average 3 out of 5 or 2 out of 5 movie for me.
Gotcha.
But overall, I didn't hate. I liked it more than Han Solo.
Han Solo is actually still in my top 5 too.
Okay, wow.
I thought it was an interesting story and good actors and funny and still part of the Star Wars universe and kind of like gave us a little bit of background.
You know something funny?
No.
Okay, I'll tell you anyway. Telling the viewers, you can just not listen.
All right. Plugging my
when
ears.
I was
Spoilers!
When I was like 13 years old, I started to write. I thought it'd be really cool. I started to do Star Wars like research onto they called it Wikipedia, and I looked up Han Solo, and I tried to like get books at the library and stuff, and like the school fair, the school book fair, and write about what Han Solo. I was like, because I read a book about Boba Fett and Jango Fett from episode 2, and I was like, this would be really cool if I could write a movie or a series about Han Solo.
But Boba Fett's first appearance is in episode 4, isn't it? 5?
Jango Fett is the father. He was in episode 2, and he gets killed. And Boba Fett is his son, who's a clone. And Boba Fett is the bounty hunter
in episode 5.
In episode 5 and 6.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
Yeah. I just thought it'd be cool if we could write the history of Han Solo as like a young guy.
Because there wasn't any history of Han Solo at that time.
And I had like a script going on, and I never.
You gotta find that shit.
Nah, I don't. It's gone forever.
Forever?
There's no way I can find it.
It's not in a notebook in your keepsake box.
It was a couple bullet points, and
okay.
I don't even know if I used to draw comics as a kid, and so I thought, I did a comic book about Jar Jar Binks.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure I could find that.
Right.
But they made a movie about Han Solo, and
they'll make a movie about Jar Jar Binks.
Oh, he was very unpopular, but I liked him as a kid. I thought he was funny. He's a goofy character.
Yeah.
You know, they say that he's a racist, like, it's a racist thing about Jar Jar Binks. Mm-mm. Like, he's making fun of old stereotypes, like from the vaudeville era, the 20s and 30s. So they would have lots of racial stereotypes and have, like, gooky, like, crazy characters, and they were making fun. And they think Jar Jar Binks is the same thing. That's a common critique of episode 1. Like, Red Letter Media.
You love it or hate it, I guess. You can't. No one can fucking maintain a level-headed. Oh man, that hurts a little.
I don't know which race Jar Jar Binks was supposed to be making fun of, but
the fact that people are calling it that it can be racist, like, get the fuck over yourself.
Get the fuck out of here with that shit.
Stop being so sensitive. Yeah. Just fucking enjoy the movie. If it
I agree
comes,
with you.
if someone, the one person goes to push and yeah, it's admitted, all right, then you can make that judgment call at that point. But if you're
If a
just like,
character's in
it could
blackface,
be
that's not
racist,
cool.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's like, come on,
Yeah.
jumping to conclusions. People got to stop doing that shit.
Yeah. The movie itself, did you like the first half? Like, do you separate kind of the first half versus the second half of the movie?
Nope,
Okay.
it's a movie, all put together. If there was like a huge spin at the end and it was like, oh, check out this huge twist, turns out you got to go watch the beginning, then sure, I would call that like the first half, the build up, and then the reveal at the end. But I don't think this movie was that way. It's pretty straightforward, mansplained into oblivion.
The way the story went, did you like how it ended up? Roughly speaking, it was, we found out that
No, I didn't.
Rey is a Palpatine. She's the granddaughter of Emperor Palpatine. He comes back, and
They pulled that idea out of thin air.
yeah, well, because they killed
And
off
they pulled
Snoke.
the idea that Kylo Ren is going to be seen by his mom and that her dying is going to stop him in the middle of his battle so Rey can hurt him and then kill him, and then she's going to be like, I'll heal you just in case. And then at the very end when he fucking comes out, puts his hand up, I was like, of course, you guys panned out all the way to see her, and then you go to this rock ledge where we saw him literally fall down, and he puts his hand up. I was like, oh, okay. And then he crawls over to her. I thought they were gonna, die or something, and all of a sudden now he can fucking heal. It's like, oh, okay.
You just didn't like what they did with Kylo Ren?
and the worst kind of scene that stuck with me was when he's trying to revive her, or put his force into hers to bring her back, and the reaction that she gets as her hand moves and touches his. I was like,
You just thought it was
kill me.
cheesy or like on the nose. Or...
Kill me. I was like, come on, we could have been a lot more creative in this. Like, at least like have her eyes closed
It's like Disney
and then
bullshit.
have them like flutter open. Like, at least that's like a realistic way that a person comes back to life, is the first thing that they do is their eyes open, or their hand twitches, but her hand just instantly moves and touches his. Like, come on. And then he fucking dies. I was like, get the fuck out of here. The girls next to me were laughing. I was like, oh man, that made it so much more funny too.
Yeah.
Everyone else thinks
Yeah.
this is funny instead of like, oh, it's so adorable. It's like Romeo
It
and
just
Juliet
didn't.
type
It
shit.
didn't hit. It didn't hit. I want to see like a clip, if they could ever do this, of like all the audiences across the country in that scene, what the reaction of the audience was. That'd be a cool marketing. It's like, how did this? Because they do that with test audiences.
Right.
So they film different things and they test it out to see what hit. But surely,
I don't think they did any test audiences for this movie.
Oh, it doesn't
They're
look like it.
We're already 200 million deep. Ship it. We're not changing it.
We're not changing shit. Go.
We thought this would be a success, but it's not. I don't care anymore.
I'm glad that they didn't try to make it funny, like Last Jedi, where they tried to put like little comedy. God, that was awful to sit through.
I mean, Han Solo in the original trilogy, was throwing quips out there.
Yeah, he was a funny character because he was a cool guy.
Sure.
He just didn't care about stuff,
But at the same time, in Episode 8,
and Harrison Ford, young Harrison
play the
Ford, was
Angel's
awesome.
Advocate, because we're both playing the Devil's Advocate. To play the opposite,
I don't think it's a term, buddy.
Angel's Advocate.
Yeah.
Hashtag Angel's Advocate.
Angel's Advocate. All
Tweet
right,
at me.
Corey. Glass half full.
We didn't know. No one knew where Rey was from. So if she's trying to be funny like Han Solo, then some people are like, oh, maybe it's another of Solo's kids or something. I don't know.
You know, Kylo Ren was Han
His
Solo
son.
and Leia.
Yes.
That's their son.
Yes,
Okay.
I do. Yeah. But going with the trend of men, I mean, I probably have 2 kids somewhere that I don't know about, so maybe Han Solo had a daughter that he just didn't know about, and she was born
You
on
thought that they
Tatooine,
might-
and
they
she
might
was a
make-
scavenger, and all of a sudden, oh, this is your lost daughter type
What do
thing.
you think about the fact that they Kylo and Rey kissed at the end before he disappeared? That was kind of surprising. That was kind of like, I was kind of a little bit shocked. I was like, oh, they're
They're what?
like a love interest. It was kind of, I didn't see that developing over the 3 films.
Oh, well, then you need to go back and watch the
I guess not. Am I just oblivious or?
I should slap you for that. I didn't watch the first 2 movies, but I couldn't make the connections in the third. Oops.
I was surprised by that. I was like, oh, I guess they're okay. He had an arc. They gave him the Sirius Black treatment. where
that's what
they
you
don't
said
know what to
when
do
we-
with a character, and so they get to the end, they're like, make him good. It's like, I love
think
when they
they had
double
all-
down on the evilness.
All three of these movies were pitched at the same time. This is the trilogy that we're doing. This is direction. This is where we're going to end up. All these movies
I don't think
were
it
pitched
was.
at the same
I
time.
don't think it was storyboarded. I don't think they did all 3 movies from the beginning. You think so?
I do.
I don't think it doesn't look that way.
It might have been haphazard. There might have been shit that we just don't know about on the production side. That
There's no way that
Inhibited
Snoke
stuff?
dying in Episode 2 or the Last Jedi, they didn't know that at the time of Force Awakens. They wrote that in between. This is like documented. I heard this somewhere. The guys who wrote the movie said we're gonna kill off Snoke in the script, and it was way off base, but because they had the script ability to do that, then the decision power to do that, they killed him off. And that was
why?
It wasn't storyboarded that Snoke would be the big bad guy at the end. There's no way that at the time of Force Awakens they were like, "Oh, we're bringing back Palpatine for episode for."
Yeah, they did.
You think so?
Yeah. How the hell are they also going to
I wonder
tie
if we
in
could
that
find
Rey
out.
is
Can
a
we find that
Palpatine?
out? How would we be able to find that out?
I don't know.
Because I don't think so.
We're going to have to wait like 3 or 4 years until, interviews
All right.
and questions are asked.
All
And
right.
they're
Well,
able
I
to
said it.
reveal
I put it out there.
Yeah.
If I'm wrong, and I'm
It's
wrong.
on the
but
interwebs. You can't get rid of
Can't
that
take it
opinion
off.
now. Yeah.
if this is uploaded, this is no, we haven't even uploaded yet.
Should we
but-
do a Joe Rogan bet on it?
yeah.
$30,000 to your fucking charity
Jesus.
of choice.
Jesus Christ. They just throw money out. They're like disconnected from reality. Like those high level comedian guys.
Yeah,
like
we're
they're
just
hilarious.
throwing
but-
money out. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're
but
over here
I love it.
complaining about having to be in first class and all these like real world problems, and these guys are like, "My car's outside, I gotta go." I was like,
Yeah.
"Get the fuck out of here, your car! Tell them to wait, idiot."
Yeah. Yeah. So I watched, like, is there anything else that you want to talk about with Star Wars? Like, I just wasn't that interested, so I don't want to talk about it for like 2 hours.
In our last podcast that we recorded a week ago, I asked you about Star, and you were talking about the creepiness versus the not the creepiness. What was the scale we used? The word
Uncanny Valley?
Uncanny Valley.
Oh, that's so
What-
long
what-
ago, it's
what-
hard to remember.
What did you think about Leia's uncanniness?
Oh. They did a good job with how Leia looked, but you could tell, at least I could tell, that they're just pulling footage that they didn't use from the last movie, and they're inserting it in this movie. And
Not.
I didn't think it worked. I mean, I didn't think it...
I don't think that's the case at all. I think they just.
You think it was all CGI?
I think it was all CGI.
Maybe. I don't...
100%. You couldn't tell by her face.
I could
mean,
tell it was CGI.
I know for a fact that she didn't record any of this last movie because she passed away unfortunately last year. So there was,
There's no way they could film her. Yeah.
there was no way that she was like ready to film and do any of this stuff before.
I thought they just took stuff from the last movie.
Nope.
No?
Nope.
Okay.
I think it was 100%.
Then they got me.
What is it called? Face. There's a term for what they're doing now, where it's face CGI stuff.
Yeah. I don't know.
But it was 100%, and the fact that we as adults, everyone our age and older, knows that
She's dead. Yeah.
Fisher.
Carrie Fisher.
Carrie Fisher is dead, so we know that this is a fake character. And this goes back to my original point: is this movie is catering to the younger audience of like this is something that 12-year-olds are going to grow up as their original trilogy, and everything beyond here is going to be how they fondly remember these original movies, and that was kind of where Disney took this audience towards. Like, what's the biggest draw for Disneyland and all their parks and all their stuff, all their movies, all their princess movies, blah blah blah. It's a younger audience.
Sure. Yeah.
Under Lucas, you had him wanting to take this adult fiction work books and put them into movies, and you could be a little bit more, you had a lot more material to work with, where now they just want movies to bring audiences in, younger audiences. And that's what this is. It's like, let's get our kids into the
You
theaters.
bring up a good point, because that's what these movies feel like. They feel like they're super marketed, and they're they have angles to them. And so, first and foremost, you got to make a good movie, and that should be your guiding principle. But the guiding principle just feels corporatized. It feels Disney-fied. It feels Marvel.
I think
it feels...
on top of that, there's also the hype of the community.
Yeah.
The people who love Star Wars. There's so much hype over, like, we
But
gotta
that's
have a good
thing.
movie.
That's not a detractor. The fact that that almost means that you could put out anything, and if it goes towards all the things that we know, like the audience as Star Wars fans, if it just feeds into that, it's going to be a hit. Like you're gonna make $1 billion out of this next movie. Just don't screw it up. And you screw it up by micromanaging we got to add in Chewbacca and make him do the thing that he's done in all the other movies, and just
maybe they felt they invested too much money in buying LucasArts.
It just comes down to a real simple. It's corporatizing something that's awesome, and everyone sees it as a corporatized. Like executives get in and they just start to make decisions, and you're not listening to
The little
what your people. If you want to find problems within an organization, you go to the frontline staff and say, you're interfacing with the customer. What's wrong with a corporation? You talk to the people at the front lines. Those are like Star Wars fans. Just ask people like what they want and what you liked about the other series, and do that kind of stuff. And don't get too crazy with it. Give it to a couple people that could write the story, and then go with that principle. Don't add in all this extra shit. And they didn't do that. That's the annoying. And most people don't care. If we're really talking about this, what I'm just saying is not what most people care about. Most people want to show up to theaters, watch.
The over-analytical approach almost.
I'm taking the over-analytical approach because I think I'm onto something. I think I'm directionally right. But overall,
Doesn't everyone?
Yeah, but you're listening to me and you're not listening to someone else. So I'm going to defend my opinions, okay? Like, yes, I think I'm right.
You have to defend yourself defending your opinions, which might be.
Well, yeah, you're kind of forcing me to do so.
Mm-hmm. Just making sure you're standing on firm ground.
Yeah. Thanks, Corey. I appreciate it.
Back to your original point.
Back to my original point. Oh, that's what people don't like about the Marvel movies, that they're kind of designed to be entertaining, almost like a theme park ride where everyone lines up and it's just get your 2 minutes of fun, and it's gonna be the same thing every time, and you're gonna go home and be happy with it. And I just don't think that's where art and movies, and I don't think you have to think about the legacy, not about the short-term profit gain. And how are these movies going to stand the test of time? I'm not sure they will. Star Wars as a story might not go down in history as the series that it was when episode 4, 5, and 6 came out. It just, at that moment in time, that between 1982 or whenever it came out to 2001, we had a Star Wars and what it was. We can never get that back because these episodes have been made and they're canon, and they're taken in a different direction. It's more corporatized, and it's just never going to have the same. We've lost what Star Wars was.
I don't think so. I think they can course correct. I think that Star Wars can still be great. I think it still will be one of the top 5 longest, best universes. You know what the number one selling across all platforms, cards, video games, blah, 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 memorabilia.
Is it Star Wars?
Pokemon.
Pokemon? Okay.
How many people know about Pokemon? Like, if I try to explain Magic to someone, oh, it's kind of like Pokemon. That's just like the general man's able to understand what a card game is and the strategy and blah, blah. Like, you know about Pokemon because it's a show, it's a card game, you see Pikachu, now it's a major motion picture, blah, blah, blah. But they've done some things in the past in their card game, in their video games that people thought were very controversial, blah, blah, blah. And they course corrected, and now it's, something that's still continuing to live on and do that. I think Star Wars is going to be the same. They're going to learn from these mistakes. Hey, we don't need to have J.J. Abrams do this anymore, or we need to focus more on our script, or that kind of thing. I think the next trilogy will be. I'm hoping, and I'm going to hold out on that, is that I think the next trilogy will be even better than the last 3 trilogies combined.
Sure, I hope you're right.
Yeah. I look forward to it.
I'm gonna keep watching.
I'm gonna keep watching Star Wars as well. So that's what I mean. Is sure they're doing horrible things, but I'm gonna keep fucking paying to go see Star Wars movies in theaters just because I love that universe. Like I said in the beginning, I would kill for a lightsaber. It's just always been a dream of mine. It's just to have one of those in my hands. So we will have the technology in 100 years.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe less than that. Less than that.
Yeah. What year are they gonna make lightsabers, Corey?
Let's see. We already have lasers, high power. They require high amounts of energy.
How do you stop it? Because lasers, like laser pointers, they go forever. So how do you?
I'd say like 30 years.
30 years we'll have lightsabers.
That's my prediction. 30 years we'll have lightsabers.
Okay.
Or something very close to it.
I think it'll be longer. I think it'll be 2100 before we have lightsabers.
80 years.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. I'll buy you one if they make it.
In 30 years or 80 years?
If they make it in 30 years, I'll buy you one.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to hold you that.
If it's not too expensive. Like, if you're going to
break
my
bank. What's too expensive?
Well, I don't know my financial situation in 30 years, but I'll let you know.
Well, okay. Well, what's like 10% of your net worth? Is that too much?
Yeah, that's too much for a fucking bet. Idiot. Of course it's too much. What kind of dumb question is that?
1% of your net worth?
No. I'll buy you one when they become consumer-able. I'm not. I shouldn't buy you a weapon.
I want you to pre-order.
Pre-order?
Pre-order the store.
Pre-order, guys. Don't pre-order stuff. Lightsaber. Don't pre-order video games. Make the.
Pre-order Cyberpunk, but make sure you leave me one. Cyberpunk 2077.
2077. That game looks cool. You know what a cool selling point I heard on that game is, the map is going to be smaller than Witcher 3.
No.
Yeah, they said it was going to be smaller.
Larger.
No, they said it was going to be... The comment I saw on Reddit said... that...
They literally overlaid the map on top of the Cyberpunk map.
Oh, okay. Is it bigger?
The Witcher 3 map fits inside the city, and there is landscape in 2077 in addition.
Damn.
You think GTA was big and they kept adding maps over, like GTA 5, they kept adding maps to like the areas and stuff and expansions? The game just comes with it. No microtransactions, no cosmetics, multiplayer, high element RPG.
I'm glad that we're getting out of this bullshit way of micro-transacting people into, like, you release a half-finished game and then microtransact them
into oblivion.
Yeah. Like, consumers don't like it, they don't want it, and fuck you if you do it. And we're hearing, I mean...
If you're a free-to-play game and you do microtransactions?
Yeah, but even that business model, like Path of Exile has the best business model in terms of ethical microtransactions.
Sure, but you make a free game.
Yeah.
And people are spending time playing your game. And you have to constantly, or you would like to constantly be able to appease your audience and make the game better. How do you make money? As a free-to-play game, you have to have microtransactions.
What you do is you don't
subs.
You don't value the money-making generation of your business before the values of your business.
Sure, but the game already is in full release after it's been in beta for 3 years, and you haven't been making money up to that point. Full release comes out, the game is still free to play. Microtransactions.
You implement what Path of Exile has done, which is you play this game a lot. If you want to support us, support the team, support more content coming out, you buy cosmetic items that have no effect in game other than changing your, like, you can update your stash and make it easier.
But those are all microtransactions. You understand that?
Yes, but those are ethical and they're still bringing value to the customer. Customers are playing your game because they want to play your game first and foremost.
Right.
If they want to support it, they want to throw money at it, they can pay more.
I'm not trying to defend like Battlefront 2.
I think I'm answering your question.
Yeah.
Though. I think that's the answer to.
Well, that's what I mean. We're saying the same thing, but
yeah,
I think we're still in agreement that the EA type Battlefront 2 type, in order to unlock Darth Vader, you have to pay $10 type shit after you've already paid $60 for the game. That is, unforgivable.
Consumers are calling that out.
Yep.
And they're saying
we're not about it.
Yeah.
And other developers are taking advantage of that too, as being like advertising the game.
Short-term
we
thinking.
Don't have microtransactions, so you don't even have to worry about
it. It's such short-term thinking in business. Like when you're starting a company, like we live in such a fast society, but you want to build things to last. And if you're going to build World of Warcraft, they didn't know, they built it to last. They keep on, you pay $15 a month. It's a perfectly good ecosystem that keep on giving you content. This is a good thing for, if you're into World of Warcraft, it's too much of a good thing. I mean, people are addicted to that shit. You're making a movie
The fact
series.
that they could re-release the game
Yeah,
in vanilla
yeah.
and be one of the most popular
Yeah.
releases of the year. I was like, what?
It's because you've got to
Warcraft 4 is coming out.
build sustainable models because people will keep on
But
playing
fuck
games.
Blizzard.
Well, what you're doing is you're trying to capture attention, and so what holds people's attention for long periods of time? And
Battlefront 2.
no, nope,
Black Ops 4.
no,
Modern Warfare 4.
no.
Or
No.
Modern Warfare Remake.
And the counter argument to this is, well, if we release a new Call of Duty every year, we're making millions of dollars because it'll be the biggest game. It's like, yeah, that's true, but
Do you know what the game of the year was?
I don't know what the game of the year was.
Sekiro.
Oh,
I'm pretty
cool.
sure. I'm about 70% on that.
Yeah, it is. It is for this podcast. Anybody listening, just ignore what reality.
Don't do a quick Google search.
Don't.
Just take me.
Just let's
take Corey for Corey's
let's go
word.
with it. Yeah, that's awesome, dude.
Sekiro. So
Sekiro. Awesome game. Everything I've seen of watching it, it's been really cool to watch.
yeah,
Yeah. I love artwork of that game, and
I'm looking forward to being able to play Death Stranding. Monster Hunter World is already a couple of years old, but that still looks visually appealing and holds up. So we're shitting on the shitters of the gaming community, but there are still good stuff out there. So
I still love games.
Don't be disheartened.
No.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, like
Right.
I love.
Well, we
video
sound very
games.
pessimistic when we
No.
start talking about
No.
the negatives of
Someone could label us as that, but we're not pessimistic. We're not. I mean,
trying to keep it
we're just.
realistic.
I'm saying stuff in industries that I don't like because I think there's short-term thinking, and I like long-term, really good stuff that builds on itself overall. Like, yeah, I think that's the way to be in life. I think like living your lifestyle, like having a somewhat healthy diet, having a like exercise, having good relationships that continue on, that give back as much as you put in. Like all this stuff is sustainable models of how to operate in the world, not short-term profit-driven. That shit is bad. Actually,
Get rich fast.
yeah, get rich quick is you can't get through this life without hard work. I mean, you can, and a lot of people do, but those people
I don't think a lot of people do.
can.
The ones that do get ahead on life on not doing the hard work are the lucky few, I would say.
They're not even lucky though, because if
You did get lucky.
it's actually not lucky to it is lucky in the short term, but it's actually not. If you win the lottery, statistically, you're not happy after winning the lottery. Like,
I'm talking about the fact that they won the lottery. That is lucky,
yeah,
based on the odds.
yeah, and then if you take a macro perspective, it turns out that most of those people
No,
have a shit
that's
life.
because they're fucking idiots. But
Yeah.
that's not doesn't break the fact that they were lucky in to be able to get to a point, regardless of the decision they made after that point. But once getting to that point, you are a very lucky few.
Yeah,
Whether
but
you
you're
won
looking
the
at a
lottery,
point in time.
or whether you got some sort of huge amount of money or blah blah. However, you came into your quote success and blah blah blah.
It's what success really actually looks like is a repeatable model that you can exercise and deploy. A successful military operation is one that you could conduct over and over and over again and achieve similar results over a long period of time. And it's like a running algorithm that you can update, and I mean, it's not gonna be the same way every time, but
Right.
how to solve a Rubik's Cube reliably the same time. You can get lucky and just solve it,
Right.
but that's not, you can't explain it, you can't teach someone else.
Right. Well, I just meant like you said. There's a lot of people who are.
Yeah, but macro perspective, they're not lucky.
Well,
they're
I'm just using.
they're a one-hit wonder.
A lot of people. I think it's a very, very, very small few people who don't work hard and still end up with something.
Yeah, if it's not repeatable and it's not, I mean, I just don't think that those people on a long enough. It's all about the timeline.
Right.
Okay, but 5 years from now,
Right.
if you win the lottery now, are you going to have all that money in 5 years?
Right.
And the answer is no. I mean, just majority of all the cases of. Yeah.
Yeah.
See, that's my point. What else was Star Wars? We're watching The Witcher. It's a really good series. I'm on episode 3 of that. You're on episode 4. Actually, we watched episode 4.
I think I tried to watch a little bit last night, and I fell asleep.
That series is awesome.
Yeah, I was more excited about watching that than I was finishing Star Wars, I walked out of the theater. And
I wanted to go home and watch The Witcher.
I hate walking out of movies like that where it's like, oh, now I gotta kind of go back to reality. But I was like, so not impressed, I guess. It was fun movie. It was a fun movie. I'll say that. It was a fun movie. That's why it has such a high rating for me. Because I took that into consideration. But every time I walk out of a theater of a movie like that and I have to go back to my own reality, it's a little disappointing. Like, oh, I was in there. I was in that moment. I was watching this. What a cool universe they're in. And you go back. But I was in the car and I was like, I get to go home and watch The Witcher, which is like,
yeah,
so cool. Like,
yeah.
Anyway.
I watched Skyfall.
Yep, I saw you watching that.
Skyfall was awesome. There's so many good cinema movie screen caps.
Let's see.
You want to watch or talk about Skyfall, or you want?
We should. Wasn't it on your list of top 5?
Yeah. No, it wasn't.
Okay.
But it's
worth talking about, I think. We're trying to get 100 episodes. We kind of gotta save like the good ones. Can't jam them all into one episode.
You want to talk about? You don't want to talk about Skyfall here? You want to make an episode about it?
Yeah.
Sure. Done.
Because I haven't seen it very recently. I saw it 4 years ago.
Watch it before it leaves my consciousness, because I saw it
yesterday.
I saw it yesterday. I saw it a couple days ago.
Yesterday.
2 days ago.
Are you sure?
No.
Wait. Yeah, yesterday. It was yesterday before Jolie came over. No, she stayed all day yesterday. Never mind. It was Friday. You're right. You're right. Time gets away from you when you're having fun.
Skyfall, and I want to watch Spectre, because then I want to watch the newer one. What is that one called? Like Tomorrow Never Dies or something?
Something like that.
I don't know. They don't even have to market it, because I'm going to go watch it.
Yeah. You just start calling them 007 and then semicolon number next to it, and we'll be fine. Yeah.
Cool. Good enough.
Thanks. Episode 34 of James Bond coming out.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't have anything left to say about The Last Jedi. Or
Rise of Skywalker?
Rise of Skywalker. Wish there was a purple lightsaber in there somewhere, but we're not gonna get that. We got the guy from Lost hugging an alien. That was a funny scene at the end.
Yeah.
I love how they got him in the movie and he didn't have shit to say.
He was a so inconsequential side character. It's like it's jarring to see a recognizable person do nothing in a film. I'm like, what? Okay.
And then the way that they let Leia go, like a bunch of people standing around her bed and she's covered with a sheet. I was like, really? We're not going to even ode to the first movies or the second trilogy where these masters are burned because they're so revered,
Sure, good point. I didn't even think about that, but you're exactly right.
I was like, okay, we're just going to stand in silence while there's music playing and that's about it. Yeah.
Her death felt very inconsequential. It was like, okay, I guess she's this character. Same thing with Chewbacca. Like, when they killed off, quote-unquote, Chewbacca, and I was like, either he's dead or... I believed it. I was like, oh, that's probably how they're really going to end him. Like, I wasn't... And then they turned out he was alive, and I was like, fuck that. You're just playing with my character emotions. Like, in the movie itself, I had no care that a major character had just died. But they treated it almost like... They cheated on my ability to watch all the other movies with Chewbacca, and I like him, to make this impactful, and they're trying to use that as a dramatic point of tension, and fuck you for doing it, because that's... You're going to kill off Chewbacca and I'm supposed to be sad within the movie? No. Generate Chewbacca being like a heroic character and him dying, and that's the point of dramatic tension, but do it within the movie. Do the legwork.
Right.
And same with Leia. They just CGI'd her saying a couple lines that were inconsequential to show that she's a part of this character.
And her arm falls off the bed and she's dead.
And then she's dead.
Okay.
What are we doing here?
Yikes. Oh. We should have saved this podcast until I had some more interesting tidbits from work. I'm sure I would spend the rest of this week listening and talking with people at work who probably share the same opinions that the both of us do about the movie, or maybe someone really enjoyed it and you just get that tidbit.
This is episode 8 of our podcast. We're gonna have additions to this. We're gonna release this as is, but we're gonna have another podcast with one of our other friends, and make an 8.5 or some sort of addition. We're going to be talking about Star Wars a little bit more, and that could be part of it. If you have new thoughts, I'd be happy to talk about them and tack it on.
Cool.
Because the thing is,
we'll do our own part 2 movie podcast.
Yeah,
part 2.
Let's do
episode 8, part 2, released after episode 12. Because that's just how Star Wars is, right? We just release movies in whatever the fuck order we want.
People don't care when they're clicking around watching YouTube videos. They made an extra second part of the podcast. Sure, I'll watch that, or I won't.
No one's watching us anyway.
No one's watching.
Too small to fail.
Too small to fail. All right.
Anal.
Oh Jesus! You gotta stop. You gotta stop with that.